Iran, please stop. We lose, you win. Please stop.
Make a lane.
The conflict between Iran and Israel escalated once again. Missile attacks were launched, information spread fast, and almost immediately, the public space was flooded with dramatic claims. Some said Israeli cities had been completely destroyed. Others claimed the country had been brought to a standstill. But to understand what actually happened, we have to step away from the noise and look at the facts on the ground, not just the headlines, not just isolated clips on social media, but the broader pattern of the attack, the response, and the real impact. What became clear is that these attacks were not random. They appeared to follow a layered strategy. Ballistic missiles were a central part of the assault, supported in some cases by drones used to complicate detection and strain defensive systems. The idea was not only destructive force, but pressure through volume and coordination. That matters, because modern air defense is not tested only by the power of a single strike. It is tested by saturation, by timing, and by the ability to respond to multiple threats at once. Some of the heaviest impacts were reported around Tel Aviv and nearby areas. Buildings were damaged. In some places, the destruction was serious. But the overall pattern was not one of total collapse. In one area, a building might be heavily hit, while nearby structures remained standing. Roads in many places remained usable. Electricity stayed on in large parts of affected zones. Public services, though under stress, continued to function. Jerusalem also felt the effects, but generally on a more limited scale. There, the experience was often defined more by warning sirens, shelter alerts, and disruption than by widespread physical devastation. That difference tells us something important. The intensity and concentration of strikes were not uniform. On the Israeli side, the defense response relied on a multi-layered system, with Iron Dome being the most widely recognized element. But Iron Dome does not intercept everything. It is designed to make calculations in real time. If a projectile is assessed as likely to land in an open area, it may not be engaged. If it is headed toward a populated zone or critical site, interception becomes the priority. That selective approach is not a flaw. It is part of how the system manages limited interceptor resources under pressure, and the results were visible. Many incoming threats were intercepted before impact, but not all of them. Some got through, and when they did, that is where real damage, fear, and disruption followed. For civilians, that disruption is immediate and personal. Every siren forces daily life to stop. Families move quickly into shelters. Schools close. Transportation is interrupted. Business activity slows. Hospitals remain open. Emergency teams stay active, but society operates under constant strain. And then there is the psychological toll. People do not know when the next warning will come. They do not know whether the next impact will be near their home, their workplace, or their children's school. That uncertainty creates a constant state of tension, even in areas where physical damage is limited. The damage itself can be understood in levels. At the lower end, there is broken glass, blast shock, and light structural damage that can be repaired relatively quickly. At the middle level, buildings may suffer significant partial damage, forcing temporary evacuation and longer recovery. At the most severe level, structures collapse or become uninhabitable, requiring major reconstruction. But even with those realities, it is important to stay grounded in what the evidence actually shows. This was not the complete destruction of Israeli cities. It was not the collapse of the state, core infrastructure remained in place. Emergency response systems continued operating. Public institutions kept functioning. What we are seeing is something more complex, a combination of attack, defense, disruption, and adaptation. Tel Aviv, because of its size, density, and economic importance, naturally feels a greater shock when strikes land nearby. Jerusalem has also been affected, but often in a different way and at a different intensity. That contrast may reflect differences in targeting priorities and operational focus. Recovery, meanwhile, depends on two things: the level of physical damage and the security environment that follows. Light damage can be repaired quickly. Moderate damage takes more time and may require temporary relocation. Severe damage demands reconstruction and long-term recovery. But as long as essential infrastructure continues to function, a city can begin to stabilize, even under pressure. So yes, these attacks had a serious impact on Israel, especially on civilians. That part is undeniable. But it is just as important to say what this was not. It was not total destruction. It was not national paralysis. And it was not the end of the system's ability to function. What happened was more measured, more complex, and more revealing than the loudest claims suggested. And that is why understanding the facts matters. Because in moments like this, misinformation travels almost as fast as missiles. And when people rely only on shock, emotion, or fragments of video, they can end up with a picture of reality that is far more dramatic than the truth. The truth is serious enough on its own. And in conflicts like this, civilians remain the ones who pay the highest price.